The next entry in the Edit Mode toolbar is the Inset tool. When we select a face and choose Inset, that face shrinks as we drag within the circle that appears around the selected face, and new faces are created around it. Before we go any further, we need to bring up the importance of applying scale when we've resized an object, since using the Inset tool is one of the situations where we are going to run into problems if we've forgotten to do that when a mesh's shape has been modified. Here we have a cube that has been stretched in the X direction. If we enter Edit Mode, select the top face, and use the Inset tool, we'll see that not all of the new faces have the same offset. This is solely because we've forgotten to apply the scale when we resized the cube. If we'd remember to do that, the new faces created by the Inset operation would have an equal offset. Once a face has been inset, we can move it up or down by holding down the Control key during the dragging within the circle. Moving the selected face in this way causes the new faces to slope towards the repositioned face. If we'd rather the new faces were vertical, we can choose not to move the selected face and extrude it instead. We can select several faces on which to perform the Inset operation. Just hold down the Shift key when selecting the second and subsequent faces. The Inset operation's last op panel has several parameters. Boundary, when checked, all the selected faces are inset as normal, but when unchecked, edges on the boundary of the mesh are left untouched. Offset even, when selected, ensures that the new faces are of an even thickness. Without this, it's the edges of the new faces that are of equal length, and this can create a distorted shape in the new faces. Offset relative is one of those options that is easier to see in action than to explain. According to Blender's help message, it adjusts the inset based on local geometry. Here we can see how it affects the inset operation when used on an irregular shape. Edge rail is a more subtle option. Normally, vertices of the new faces are placed along the vertex average normals, but with this option activated, they are positioned along the original edge where possible. Thickness sets the thickness of the new faces. Depth sets how far the selected faces are placed above or below their original position. Outset, when selected, places the new faces outside the originally selected face, rather than within its original area. This leaves the area of the selected faces unchanged. On a grid, we could perhaps predict the result of using this option, but when we apply it to a face of a cube, the new faces are created on the adjacent sides. Select Outer selects the new faces when the inset operation has been performed, rather than the originally selected faces. Individual insets each selected face separately, rather than as a single area. Interpolate affects, amongst other things, how the UV mapping changes with the new faces. This will be covered in a later video when we look at texturing objects in more detail. As usual, there is a keyboard shortcut for initiating the inset operation. Pressing I will start the operation, and moving the mouse will adjust the thickness of the new faces. If, during this, we also hold down the Control key, we can adjust the depth of the selected face. Release the Control key, and we can continue adjusting the size of the selected face. If we press the O key after we start an inset operation, this will cause the Outset option to be activated. We can see it switched on when we look at the last op panel, and it will remain active for any subsequent inset we perform unless we press the O key for a second time to switch this option off. If we press the I key again after starting an inset operation, we'll toggle the last op panel's individual checkbox, causing insets on each individual face when the box is checked. The box will remain in its current state until a further press of the I key or it is changed in the last op panel. Pressing B toggles the boundary option. If we've initiated inset using the keyboard rather than the toolbar, pressing the left mouse button completes the operation, while the right mouse button undoes the inset. Finally, in the top left part of the viewport, we'll see the thickness of the surrounding new faces and the depth to which the originally selected faces have been moved.